You are not antisocial. Your nervous system is just tired. Let's start right there. I want you to take a slow, deep breath. Let those words settle in. This feeling you have, this urge to retreat after being with people, it is not a flaw in your character. It is not a sign of weakness. It is not a lack of care for others. It is a biological response deep inside you. A quiet signal from a system that has had enough. You have been processing so much for so long without realizing the true weight of it. Today, we will explore this together in a calm, gentle way. So often, you are in a room full of people, even people you love, and feel a silent drain. It's like a quiet hum growing louder and louder until all you can think about is leaving. You wonder why you feel this way. You might feel a sense of guilt or shame, asking yourself, what is wrong with me? You see others energized by social gatherings and you feel the opposite. This experience can be deeply isolating. It can make you believe you are different in a bad way. But I am here to tell you, you are not alone in this feeling. Many people feel exactly the same way. Stay with me here. Because what we are about to discuss might change how you see yourself. It can give you a new language for your experience. Instead of labeling yourself as antisocial or introverted or shy, we will look underneath those labels. This is not about finding a new box to put yourself in. It is about understanding the beautiful, sensitive instrument that is your body and learning how to care for it with compassion. You are not broken. You are simply processing more than most realize. This isn't your personality. It's how your nervous system processes stimulation. Let's slow this down for a moment and look at what that really means. Your nervous system is the intricate communication network of your body. It is responsible for taking in everything from the world around you. This includes sights, sounds, smells, and the subtle energy of other people. It processes the words they say, their tone of voice, their body language, and their emotions. For some people, this system is naturally most sensitive. It registers stimulation with greater intensity and detail. It is like having a very fine-tuned microphone that picks up every single sound in a room. When you are around people, your nervous system is working incredibly hard. It is constantly decoding social cues and managing the sensory input of the environment. Imagine a busy party. There is music playing, many people talking at once, and lights that might be too bright. Your nervous system is trying to process all of this information simultaneously. It is also trying to track the conversation you are in, understand the emotions of the person you're speaking with, and formulate your own responses. This requires a tremendous amount of energy. It is not a character flaw to feel depleted by this process. It is a simple matter of biological capacity. Think of it like a battery. We all have a social battery. Some people start the day with a very large battery, and social interaction charges it up. For others, the battery might be smaller to begin with, and every social interaction, no matter how pleasant, draws a little bit of power from it. This is not good or bad, it is just different. Your system is not designed for constant, high-level stimulation. It is designed for deeper, more meaningful processing. When your battery runs low, that feeling of exhaustion is a signal. It is your body's way of asking for a quiet moment to recharge. My hope is to give you a framework that feels validating and empowering. Instead of feeling guilty for needing to withdraw, you will understand the biological reason for it. You will learn to see your need for quiet not as an inconvenience, but as a necessary and healthy part of your rhythm. This understanding is the first step toward living more comfortably in a world that can often feel too loud. Let's begin by describing what this experience actually feels like in your mind. It often starts subtly, like a thin layer of fog slowly rolling in. At the beginning of a social event, a dinner with friends, a work meeting, you might feel present and engaged. You're following the conversation, contributing your thoughts, feeling connected. But as time goes on, you may notice a shift. Your thoughts start to feel slower. The mental clarity you had just an hour ago begins to fade, replaced by a gentle, persistent haze. This is the first whisper of social fatigue, the sign your cognitive resources are starting to dwindle. As this mental fog thickens, tracking what people say becomes difficult. Words float by without fully registering. You have to put in extra effort to keep up with the thread of a story. Someone asks you a question. For a moment, your mind goes blank. Now, let's turn our attention to your body. Social fatigue is not just a mental experience, it is deeply physical. Your shoulders may start to feel heavy, your neck might feel tense, your back might feel achy. You have only been sitting and talking, yet your body can feel as weary as if you have run a marathon. As the mental fog thickens and the physical weight settles in, another feeling begins to surface, a powerful, almost primal urge to withdraw. This is not a casual preference for being alone. It is a deep and urgent need for solitude. It can feel like a magnetic pull toward a quiet, empty room, away from the noise, away from the conversation, away from the presence of other people. Every part of your being seems to cry out for an escape. You might start scanning the room for an exit or mentally planning your departure. Think of it as a circuit breaker flipping off to prevent further damage. Your system has reached its absolute limit for processing stimulation, and the only way it can begin to recover is by drastically reducing all incoming input. Solitude is not just about being away from people, it is about being in an environment where your senses are no longer bombarded. This urge can feel incredibly intense, and it often comes with a sense of conflict. A part of you knows you should stay with people you love, celebrating an important occasion or attending a mandatory work function. You want to be present for them, and you feel guilty for wanting to flee. This internal battle between your need for solitude and your sense of social obligation is exhausting in itself. You might try to fight the urge, but this often only makes the feeling stronger. It is crucial to understand that this is not a rejection of the people you are with. It is a profound act of self-preservation. For so long, you may have seen sensitivity as a weakness. Society often frames sensitivity in negative terms, being too emotional, being too fragile, being too easily overwhelmed. This narrative is inaccurate and deeply harmful. It pushes you to fight against your own nature. Today, I invite a gentle but radical reframing. Replace the word sensitivity with depth of processing. This isn't a semantic trick, it's more accurate about your nervous system. Your brain is not weaker, it processes information more thoroughly. You take in more data from your environment. You reflect on it more deeply. You notice more subtleties. You make connections between disparate ideas. This is a powerful cognitive style. It often makes you more empathetic, more creative, more conscientious, more intuitive. These are profound strengths from the same nervous system that gets tired in a crowd. Weakness and strength, two sides of the same coin. When you see sensitivity as deep processing, your perspective shifts. The goal is not to be less sensitive, it's to create a life that honors how you process the world. Stop asking, how can I fix myself? Start asking, how can I create the right conditions for my system to thrive? You become a compassionate caretaker of a finely tuned and beautiful instrument. Now that we have explored the science and psychology behind your social fatigue, let's move into the practical. If this is making sense, stay with me. This next part matters. The first tool I want to offer is profoundly simple yet powerful. It is a technique I call the 3-breath reset. Let's try it together now. Wherever you are, find a comfortable posture. First breath. Breathe in through your nose, and as you breathe out, imagine you are releasing the physical tension in your body. Second breath. Breathe in again, and as you exhale, imagine you are clearing the mental fog. Third breath. Breathe in deeply one more time. As you breathe out, I want you to silently offer yourself a single kind thought. It could be, I am okay, or this is just a moment. You can use this reset in the midst of a social gathering. Excuse yourself to the restroom. It is a way to check in with yourself before your energy is completely depleted. Our next tool involves creating external breaks, what I call strategic pauses. Instead of waiting until you are completely drained, you proactively give yourself pockets of quiet to discharge some of the accumulated stimulation. You could step outside for a few minutes. Even a 5-minute visit to the restroom, you can decide ahead of time that you will offer to help with the dishes, which ultimately allows you to be a more present and pleasant companion when you return to the group. Setting boundaries is often one of the most challenging things for sensitive people. But a boundary is not a wall you build to push people away. It is a line you draw to protect your own inner peace and energy. The key is to learn the art of the soft boundary, communicating your needs in a way that is clear, kind, and non-confrontational. Thank you so much for thinking of me. I don't have the social energy for a big group event right now, but I'd love to catch up one-on-one soon. The formula for a soft boundary often involves 3 parts. First, expressing appreciation. Second, stating your limit clearly. Third, offering an alternative or reassurance. It can feel vulnerable at first to state your needs so directly, but with practice, it becomes easier. Each time you set a gentle boundary, you are teaching yourself that your needs matter. You are reinforcing a new pattern of self-respect. We have traveled a long way together, moving from the confusing feelings of social fatigue to the deep biological and psychological reasons behind them. Today, I invite you to gently set that old story down. You now have the knowledge and the language to write a new one. In this new story, you are not antisocial. Your nervous system is simply tired. You are not weak. You are highly perceptive. You are not broken. You are running on a different operating system. This journey of self-acceptance is not a one-time decision. It is an ongoing practice. There will be days when you push past your limits and feel completely drained. The practice is to meet all of it with gentleness. Treat yourself with the same kindness you'd give a dear friend who is overwhelmed. You are worthy of that gentle care. This begins with gentle curiosity. Start to observe your own patterns without judgment. If this exploration has helped you, I invite you to watch the next video in this series, which explores the signs of overthinking and offers gentle tools to quiet the noise. For now, I want you to take one final slow breath. Let go of the need to have it all figured out. You are not antisocial, you are not too much, you are not broken. Your nervous system is simply tired from the beautiful, intricate, and profound work it does every single day. Be gentle with yourself.